The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
we are now about to witness the truth.
It's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
I'm laughing and talking, and can't nobody hear a thing I just said for the last 5 minutes. That is so funny. Okay, I figured it out because I didn't see my levels going up and down. So I'm going to start again because it's a really great story. First of all, shout out to Media Revolt. All right. Michael Solomon and them don't just resist, revolt. They sent me this. I'm going to repeat everything I said. They sent me this T-shirt. They didn't send me any George Soros money, but Michael Solomon and the people at Media Revolt, they've been friends of the family, of the Progressive Army family. Some of them have been parts of the Progressive Army since we started. So go and check them out at Media Revolt, Twitter, on the website, everywhere. Check them out. Special thanks to our patrons. Special thanks to our patrons, without whom I'm seriously going to repeat everything that I said. Embarrassing stuff and all. Special thanks to our patrons, without whom this is not possible at all. It's possible now because of you. If it was not for you, I'd probably be working at Chick-fil-A or teaching. God forbid. I think I would rather work at Chick-fil-A than to teach again, because back in the day when I was a teacher, boy... Let's just say I'm glad YouTube wasn't that popular, because I would have been fired because of video of this black man cussing out students. So thank you for keeping me out of the classroom. Go to patreon.com/the BPD show and continue supporting the Benjamin Dixon Show. A lot happening in the world around us. We're going to get to that. I'm going to take your calls, 857-600-0518. Special thanks to whoever that was that just called, the people calling in now, because that triggered my mind to think about my microphone not even being on. So you saw the title of the show, man. Donna Brazile, for at least the next 24 hours, at least the next 48 hours, Donna Brazile is bae. And you know what? A lot of people, before I even go into it, all right, if you've been living under a rock today and you don't know what's going on, here's a snapshot. Donna Brazile wrote an article in the Politico that confirms everything that we thought and we knew. Matter of fact, I have a video on it that I shared this morning that outlines exactly how unethical, if not illegal, it wasn't illegal, but it was unethical, Hillary Clinton's relationship with the DNC was during the primaries. I have an extensive video. I think I did 23 minutes on it, outlining it. I had a version that was up on David Pakman's website because I did it for his show the very next morning. But he, I don't know. I couldn't find that one, but I have my version of it from my night show. So I outlined it, and this is what Donna Brazile wrote about. And she essentially confirmed that the primaries were rigged. And a lot of people are upset about this today. And I'm like, anybody who listens to me knows I have taken it on the chin for moving past the primaries. Now, I'm not going to say all the patrons that I lost left me because I've insisted that we move past the primaries. I think some of them left because, whatever, money is tight for a lot of people, right? So, but I've lost a lot of support from Twitter to Patreon to all across the board because I have insisted that we move past the primaries and stop relitigating the primaries. So I've got some credibility when I take a sidestep here and say that this article is absolutely what we need right now. I've got more credibility than anybody else. You've got a lot of people who've been living in petty the entire time, and they've lived in this space where they wanted to relitigate the primaries the entire time. I've had zero interest in doing that, and I won't even do it tonight. But I will say that Donna Brazile is bae for at least the next 48 hours. And this is why. So she wrote a piece, and I want to go over the piece. I know the phones are lighting up. So I ask you all to be patient. I'm going to go through the piece. Give me about 15 minutes. Those that are on hold, if you want to call back in about 15 minutes, because I'm going to go to the article first. I'm going to give my piece on it, and then I want to hear you. So I want you guys to blow up the line. You're blowing up the lines now. Blow them up in about 15 minutes. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to give my commentary line by line by line, because it's a necessary piece. Let me just check my audio real quick, just for good measure. Why not? Before I go too deep into it. Actually, I figured my producers would call me if something was wrong. All right, here we go. Donna Brazile in the Politico. She said, before I called Bernie Sanders, I lit a candle in my living room and I put on some gospel music. Candles and gospel music. Okay. I wanted to center myself for what I knew would be an emotional phone call. I had promised Bernie when I took the helm of the Democratic National Committee after the convention that I would go get to the bottom of whatever Hillary Clinton's team had rigged how they rigged the nomination process, as a cache of emails stolen by Russian hackers and posted online has suggested. I had my suspicions from the moment I walked in the door at the DNC a month or so earlier based on the leaked emails, but who knew if some of them might have been forged? I needed to have solid proof, and so did Bernie. So I followed the money. My predecessor, right here, this gets good. Third paragraph, this thing gets good. I followed the money. My predecessor, Florida Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, had not been the most active chair in fundraising at the time when President Barack Obama's neglect had left the party in significant debt. As Hillary Clinton's campaign gained momentum, she resolved the party's debt and put it on a starvation diet. It had become dependent on her campaign for survival, for which she expected to wield control over its operations. Now, first thing she did is throw Debbie Wasserman Schultz on the bus. Because we don't agree on a lot, right? We all argue quite a bit. Can we all agree that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is quintessential garbage? Can we do that? Can we all agree that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is trash and she needs to be dragged? Because she allowed most of what happened, she allowed it to happen. In fact, she was behind it. All right. So anyway, Donna Brazile didn't pull any punches on her. She said Debbie was not a good manager. She hadn't been very interested in controlling the party. She let Clinton headquarters in Brooklyn do as it desires, so she didn't have to inform the party officers how bad the situation was. How much control Brooklyn had and for how long was still something I had been trying to uncover for the last few weeks. By September 7th, the day I called Bernie, I had found my proof and it broke my heart. Now, before I go any further, this is why I laid out the fact that I have credibility here, right? Because a lot of people are dismissing this as two things. You have those who are dedicated. The dedication to Hillary Clinton is enough, folks. Like, come on, let's move. Come on. Don't be a psychotic sycophant. Like, move on from Hillary. You want us to move on from Bernie. And, a lot of my listeners won't, and they might leave me for saying this, but I moved on from Bernie. I don't want Bernie to run in 2020, right? Because for many reasons, notwithstanding the fact he's going to be like 150 years old, okay? But you want us to move on from Bernie, but you guys are so dedicated to your worship of Hillary Clinton that now today out of the blue, or last night it started, I am Hillary Clinton. The hell I am? The hell you are? If you want to be a two-time presidential loser, then fine. B, you are Hillary Clinton. And this is coming from a person that recognized game. I respect Hillary Clinton's game. I respect her political prowess. I wish she had been more Machiavellian. I wish she had been more of a queen bee and just let Donald Trump have it and show the world how much of a queen bee she could really be. I would have preferred that Hillary Clinton than the nice, amiable grandmother role that she tried to play, because everybody knew that was fake. But I was waiting to see the blood, the cutthroat, rip Donald Trump's heart out of his chest, Hillary Clinton. That's what I was waiting for. So I'm not knocking Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. I wanted her to be like the baddest bee on the street. Like, come and knock these fools out. Come on. We needed her to drag the floor with fuckface von clown stick. We needed her to drag him through the mud by his orange hair and just rip his political heart out of his chest. But she was timid with him. And I get it. A lot of the reasons she was timid with him is because she felt based on polling, she couldn't afford to come off as too aggressive and too mean. And that is a factor or a result of some inherent some inherent misogyny in the United States, right? Where a woman can't be as bold as she wants to be because it turns off men and it turns off women. But when you're dealing with a person like Donald Trump, America would have applauded to the top of our lungs if she could have grabbed him, rhetorically, grabbed him by his orange hair and drug him through the mud and just mollywopped him. I mean, ask him some questions that would have made him look like a 2-year-old, right? Turn when he was walking behind her, stalking her at that thing. She should have turned around and gave him the side eye, like, bitch, get off me, right? So that's the Hillary Clinton I was waiting for. I don't care what everybody else say. I mean, everybody has their opinion. Some people people actually think she's a supervillain. Some of my followers on Twitter think that she's a supervillain. And to those people, I want to direct you back to my 5 minutes of political horror episode on Tuesday on Halloween. There's the first segment. The very first clip is for you. If you think Hillary Clinton is a supervillain and you pour more into opposing her than opposing Donald Trump, and you're my supporter, then you need to seek help. You need to seek help just like all these other people who are worshiping Hillary Clinton. There's a lot of unstable people. I told y'all tonight's going to be lit, and I'm sorry. I guess I have zero filter tonight. Enjoy it, because I rarely let my filter down. I'm always calculating every word. I'm not calculating shit tonight. We have people who worship Hillary Clinton that need to get help. You need help. If you cannot stand to see Hillary Clinton criticized, you need as much help as those people who follow me who think that she's a supervillain. There's a lot of normalcy in between those two extremes. You all deserve each other. It's like the cat, it's like the dog chasing the truck. When he catches it, don't know what the hell to do. You guys are a match of insanity, just perfect for each other. That 8% of the Hillary Clinton supporters who hate Bernie Sanders as though he was Donald Trump, you guys need mental counseling, mental help. Because it's number one, because it's completely unhealthy to continue to keep America in this place. Forget about your personal problems, right? America has problems and we can't move past them because people can't listen to a former ally of Hillary Clinton bring a reasonable critique of Hillary Clinton. They are losing their shit. All right, let me finish reading. Oh, but the reason I have credibility on this is because I am the number one chief Ace Boone Coon of who wants to move past the primaries. And I think that this article represents a great opportunity for us to move past the primaries, because we'll never move past the primaries if we don't resolve the underlying issues. Right? You can't keep telling us that it's raining when you're really pissing on our heads. And because I'm the number one person who wants to move past the primaries, I think I have some credibility here when I say that this is something that we need to sit down, read, digest it, adjust course, correct some of the mistakes, and let's move forward. All right. So enough of my words. Let's listen to Donna Brazile. The Saturday morning after the convention on July 1st, I called Gary Gensler, the chief financial officer of Hillary's campaign. He wasted no words. He told me the Democratic Party was broke and $2 million in debt. Thanks, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Thanks, Obama. What? I screamed. I'm an officer of the party, and they've been telling us everything is fine, and they were raising money with no problems. That wasn't true, he said. Officials from Hillary's campaign. So here's this first paragraph. This first section is about how Hillary Clinton's campaign ended up saving the DNC. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you. Right. But what somebody said to me today, and I think it's very important, but congratulations. You deserve an applause. Somebody said to me, and it's very important today, that saving the institution is good. But what's even better right now is that the model that Sanders has set up is trickling down to individual candidates. The DNC right now is having a problem fundraising. You would think that they would be raising money hand over foot because of Donald Trump in the White House. But what people are doing instead of pouring money into the institution of the DNC, they're pouring money into their particular candidates, the people that they believe in. And that means something. You have like Randy Bryce out of Wisconsin's 1st District. He raised like $1 million by himself last quarter. And whether you like Randy Bryce or you like his opponent, his primary opponent, that is, the fact is for one of them to beat Paul Ryan is is so essentially important. It's vitally important. And so for him to be able to raise this $1 million, even if the DNC right now is struggling, well, that's fine. Saving the institution is cool. Congratulations. But what's more important is that people are pouring money now into candidates that they believe more so than the institution that's able to screw up so much that members, people who are on the board of the DNC, had no idea how bad Debbie Wasserman Schultz was screwing up the DNC. All right, so I'm skipping a little bit. Let's get down to the good stuff. Individuals who may, here it is. Here's what I reported on last year. So she asked Gary, how did this happen without me knowing? I asked. I don't know how Debbie relates to the officers. Gary said he described the party as fully under control of Hillary Clinton's campaign, which seemed to confirm the suspicion of the Bernie camp. The campaign had the DNC on life support, giving it money every month to meet its basic expenses, while the campaign was using the party as a fundraising clearinghouse. Under FEC law, an individual can contribute a maximum of $2,700 directly to a presidential campaign, but the limits are much higher for contributions to the state parties and to the party's national committee. Now, the only thing I did not report on 2 years ago was the fact, because we didn't know it at the time, was the fact that Hillary Clinton, the way she was able to pull this off, the reason these states entered into this agreement was because she had the DNC on life support. I mean, you catch a person when they're down, you could get them to trick pretty easily. My God, I told you guys, I have no filter tonight. Jesus, help me. Keep me near the cross. But that's what she did. She got the DNC when they were bankrupt. So of course they're going to do whatever she says do. And this is no slight to Hillary Clinton. Like I said, game recognized game. If I have the ability to control an entire national institution for pennies on the dollar because Debbie Wasserman Schultz doesn't know how to run a national institution, I would do the same exact thing. No question. I'm sorry. Because sometimes our morality and our sense of morality, first of all, it's a facade because most of you would do the same damn thing too. Don't mess with me. Don't fool me tonight. But then second of all, sometimes you allow it to I would do, all I'm going to say is I would do the same thing. Debbie Wasserman Schultz screwed up an entire nationwide organization. She's incompetent and too much of a buffoon to actually manage it. And I can get control of the whole thing on pennies of the dollar. Yeah, I would. That doesn't change the fact that she, that because of that, it was rigged. So let's keep reading. Individuals who maxed out their $2,700 contribution limits to the Clinton campaign could write an additional check for $353,400 to the Hillary Victory Fund. That figure represented $10,000 to each of the 30. I reported on this item by item. Go watch my video from 2 years ago. $353,000 to the $400 to the Hillary Victory Fund. That figure represented $10,000 to each of the 32 states who were part of the Victory Fund agreement, $320,000 total, and $33,000 to the DNC. The money would be deposited in the states first and then transferred to the DNC shortly after that. Money in the battleground states usually stayed in that state, but all the other state funds funneled directly to the DNC, which quickly transferred the money to Brooklyn. Now, I breezed past that point, but I have an entire 23-minute video way back when I was in my living room and had the studio lighting. It looked, the club lighting. It looked a little, funky in there, but I explained this item by item, how a person who had a maximum of $2,700 could end up giving Hillary Clinton $350,000. Donna Brazile continued. Wait, I said. That victory fund was supposed to be for whoever was the nominee and the state party races. You're telling me that Hillary has been controlling it since before she got the nomination? Ding, 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 ding. That's correct. And here's the rest of the story. That's the deal that Robbie Mook struck with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Gary explained, referring to campaign manager Robbie Mook. It was to sustain the DNC. We sent the party nearly $20 million from September until the convention and more to prepare for the election. So, this has been the guise underneath which most of Hillary Clinton supporters, the Hillary Clinton psychos. I'm sorry. Again, I don't have any time to pull punches with you guys tonight because I have lost plenty of supporters because I have insisted that they move the hell on away from the primaries. Stop relitigating the primaries because we need to move forward and defeat Donald Trump's agenda. right? More than just defeating Donald Trump, we need to defeat his agenda, which is so detrimental to millions of Americans. So I've been bullying my audience to move on from the primaries. So for all of you who are still stuck there on the Hillary Clinton side of the aisle, shame on you even more so, because here's Donna Brazile outlining to you exactly what the problem was, and yet you're sitting back making excuses and now attacking Donna Brazile. Instead of being a mature adult and saying, well, okay, I guess I don't want to admit it. It really bothers me to admit it, but the primaries were rigged. And Bernie and his supporters have been saying this the whole time. But instead, they're tripling down, quadrupling down on we hate Bernie Sanders. He's a woman hating, he just didn't want to see a woman get in power. Please, you in particular who are saying that line, just shut the hell up, please. And that's the nicest way. That's my clean language. All right, guys, like I said, if you're on hold, Jesus. Yeah, if you're on hold, just keep holding for me. What's the burn rate, Gary? I asked. How much money do we need every month to keep the party funded? The burn rate was $3.5 million to $4 million a month. She clutched pearls. She gasped. I had a pretty good sense of the DNC's operations after having. So anyway, she knew that the $3.5 million a month was too much. And she goes on into discussing the reason it costs so much to run the DNC every single month was because not only did Hillary Clinton have consultants on staff being paid by the DNC, but so did Barack Obama have people. And so they were just using the DNC as kind of a slush fund to pay their people. See, ultimately, 99% of this goes back to greedy ass consultants who refuse to take less than $350,000 a month to do something that I probably could, any average Joe could do, right? They're not doing super sophisticated stuff on most parts, right? You may have some polling groups that do super sophisticated stuff, but the rest of them are out there doing some pretty basic stuff and they're charging $40,000, $50,000 a month. Consultants. And consultants, this is why you're going to have on both sides of the aisle, nobody really wants to get money out of politics. You know why? Maybe a candidate does, because the candidate's the one who has to go out there and pimp themselves. Like, this is the number one reason I could never run for office, because I get tired of saying hello to people, let alone asking them for money. I can say hello to a whole lot of people, but I'm not going to sit there and ask you for money all damn day. And candidates have to go out there and ask for money all damn day because they have to be able to afford to pay their consultants who charge $50,000, $100,000 a month, $2-3 million a year, $5 million a year, $10 million a year, just to show you how to lose. And Hillary Clinton had an entire team of consultants that were being paid by the DNC. So did Barack Obama. All right, maybe we're getting to some points that I haven't read because I don't think I finished this last part of the article. Right around the time of the convention, the leaked emails revealed Hillary campaign was grabbing money from the state parties on its own purposes, leaving it. Yeah, that's Political story back in May 2016. Yeah, it was a good one. Yet the states kept less than half of 1% of the $82 million they had amassed from the extravagant fundraisers Hillary campaign was holding. Just as Gary. So here's the deal. Now, to Hillary's credit, right? Because I'm going to be fair, right? I'm not bashing Hillary, even though I'm sure all the Hillary supporters have already left by now, but that's cool. That's fine. You're lost. Here's one thing that you have to keep in mind. The money that was being raised, even though it was more than what individuals like George Clooney, because he was part of it, what he was only able to really give Hillary Clinton 2,700 in the primary, 2,700 in the general election. But because of the arrangement that Robbie Mook worked out for him, he was able to gather together about $350,000 and donate that himself. Now, you add that on top of all his Hollywood friends, and she could come away from a fundraiser in Hollywood with 10 people with $3.5 million. Now, the fact of the matter is that she was the one raising the money. The catch is that people probably, whether they knew it or not, right? I mean, some of them probably knew the jig, and some of them probably didn't, right? But the fact is that this $35, what was it, $82 million that they amassed that because Hillary Clinton was out there hustling. And I think it's only fair for us to say that. Right? Could Bernie have raised that money? Possibly, right? Possibly. But he didn't. Hillary Clinton did. And so $82 million, only less than half of 1%, went to the states, when only about $2,700 of that was supposed to go to Hillary Clinton, and the rest of it, right? So the vast majority of it was supposed to go to the states. That was the gig. That's what they set up. And you could ask the question whether or not they could have raised the money if it wasn't Hillary Clinton. It's very possible, right? Bernie Sanders was he was nothing to sleep on, right? And Bernie Sanders was out there raising money hand over foot from small donations. And I'm sure he had plenty of Hollywood people who liked him, like Mark Ruffalo, who happened to tweet out my show tonight. Shout out to the Hulk for supporting for supporting Benjamin Dixon. That's the Hulk follows me on Twitter. He had Killer Mike. He had Rosario Dawson. He had all kinds of people. I mean, Bernie Sanders could pull some money, right? But I don't want to. If I'm going to be fair in this article, the fact of the matter is that Hillary Clinton raised this money. She hustled the states. She hustled every single state DNC, not DNC, but every state Democratic Party, and she hustled the national DNC. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. From that side of the coin, I would be less than honest with you if I didn't say, would I have done the same thing? Yeah, I mean, you guys know I keep it 100. I would have done the same damn thing. I would have done the same damn thing. But that does not change the fact that the primaries were rigged because of this. Because Hillary Clinton had this 100% control over the payroll. If there were bills that were going to be paid at the DNC, they had to pay. They were only paid because of Hillary Clinton. Now you tell me, who is their loyalty going to be to? So all of these people, if you can follow me in this part of the conversation, part A of the conversation is Hillary Clinton, she hustled. She went out there, she raised this money. And in the midst of her raising this money, she played the states and she played the national DNC. But she was only able to play the national DNC because Debbie Wasserman Schultz was such a feckless leader, such an incompetent piece of crap who never needs to be in elected office ever again. I mean, if anyone can be shitted on in this entire conversation, like, can we all just agree that we should collectively shit on Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Can we agree there? Because she's really the person who created the situation where the DNC was literally begging Hillary Clinton, like motherfuckers who probably should have been fired a long time ago. Of course they're going to serve Hillary Clinton when Hillary Clinton is making sure that they're getting their fat paycheck that they don't even need to get, because why are they even on the payroll in the off season? So she had this entire group of people who were beholden to her for their money at the DNC, and you want to tell me that they were not going to do everything and go above and beyond for Hillary? So if you can follow me for the A side of that conversation, you should be able to, of that sentence, of that diatribe, then you should be able to follow me on the B side of that diatribe. That means this is exactly how Hillary Clinton was able to get control of the DNC when she should have had none. When the DNC was ostensibly supposed to be fair and balanced, it was exactly the opposite, because Debbie Wasserman Schultz, in her incompetent and feckless ways, set it up such that the DNC was hungry for money and desperate for money. And Hillary Clinton, the fundraising machine that she was, went out there and said, watch me work. Watch me work. All right, I think I've been an idiot enough. Caller, you're live on the air. You've been holding for 25 minutes. You deserve the floor. What's your name, comment, and/or question?
Hello, Ben. This is Brianna.
Hey, Brianna, what's on your mind?
Hey, I just want to say, when this art, I respect Donna Brazile, putting this out, because now I know, I've seen it all over social media. She's getting hated on by,
is she ever?
people who say, oh, we are Democrats, we all stick together, we all should be united, and the other second they come out and they trash on her. But I respect for what she's done, because this should put the whole, was the primary rigged or not, to rest. And those who are still in denial and won't accept it, they can just go away, I guess you can say. They can just go away. But, because just like you, I want to move on for the primaries. I want to fight Donald Trump. I want to focus on the here and now.
Yeah.
I said before, I love Bernie. He got me into politics. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be so active in it. But we have to move on.
Yeah,
we have to move on. And I just want to say more thing. This has something to do with Hillary Clinton. This is the only time I'm going to mention her, and after this, I want to be done with her.
Absolutely. I agree. Thanks so much for the call. 857-600. Where's my control button over here? 857-600-0518. If you want to weigh in on the discussion, I want to know what you think. I cover the gist of it. Not even the gist. I cover some details in the minutia. This is exactly how Hillary Clinton was able to take over the campaign, the DNC. And I think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating because people are showing just how committed they are. I don't even know if they're so committed to Hillary Clinton as they are their opposition to Bernie Sanders. And this is going to be this. You know what? I got to call people out. God damn it. I'm going to say names. I don't know if I'm going to say names, but you know who I'm talking to, and you know I'm talking to you. If you have a default setting of, I refuse to listen to anybody from Bernie Sanders camp, I refuse to listen to like nobody from Bernie Sanders, nobody, then one, that's you're childish. Then number two, you're not a leader. Number three, you're part of the problem. Done. Anybody who behaves like that, I don't care who you are, where you're from, what your status is. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care if you are an elected official. I don't care if you act like that. You're acting like a child, and you are part of the problem. Being an actress in Hollywood does not preclude you from being a child. Being an actor, having a huge following on Twitter means nothing to me. You are the epitome of a man-child if your initial reaction is, oh my God, a Bernie Sanders supporter is talking to me. Get the fuck out of here. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, better see Bryce. What's going on?
What's going on, Bryce? You're not the first caller tonight. What in the world is going on? What's on your mind, man?
I know I'm busy now. Oh my God, I'm doing a lot today. Okay, real quick. So Trump got a bill called the cut bill. What the fuck?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second too.
I'm like, dude, okay. So in terms of Donna Brazile, yeah, I'm glad she did it. And I had moved on from the primaries. You know, I love Bernie to death, but I've been a supporter of Bernie for a long time,
right,
even before this. But I moved on, you know, and I don't think he's going to really run in 2020, but I do think he'll still be part of politics. It's cool.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, as progressives, we have to do what we got to do, and we got to fight Trump. Like, we can't, you know, we can't keep harshing over the same thing. Like, I understand why, because, you know, the system, and we don't want this to happen again, and the control, we got to fight that. And I know there's the whole thing that we can fight two at the same time. I'm not pushing that aside, but the issue is this orange asshole that's in office now.
Yep.
That's the big issue.
Yep.
And we got to fix that. And we can still fix that whole other stuff too. But that's the whole point of the situation. And one last thing.
Yep.
Papa John's
is trash.
Sucks. It tastes like ass.
I was getting ready to say I don't know what ass tastes like. 857-600-0518. Papa John's is garbage. Couple other things that you said in there that I wanted to make commentary on. The tax bill. We're going to talk about the tax bill in a minute. I just realized the part I didn't repeat. Man, let me tell you guys about why I'm bald today. I may keep it. I don't know. I've had it before. So I went to the barbershop this morning. And Owen, please don't make this an individual clip. Don't. Just write this note down. You do not have to chop this segment up and post it on YouTube. So I go to the barbershop and I'm like, you know, I've got a pretty noticeable bald spot in here, right? But if you cut me down to like a level 1 or a level half, it blends in nice and you give me a nice little tape. So I'm like, you know, I went to a new barber. That's my fault. But the last barber I went to isn't good with kids. And he got a little rough with my kid last time. And I'm like, it's so I don't go to jail and beat this dude's ass. Let me go find a new barber. So I went exploring and found a new barber. And, I jumped to the seat and I'm like, yeah, just bring me all the way down, blend in my bald spot. Cause my mother's father was bald as a cue ball when he was like 19. So I have no hope. My brother was bald at 18. That's my younger brother. So I got lucky to have as much hair as I have left. It's in the family. My older brother's bald as a cue ball. So it's coming. Long story short, this dude took my hairline. Most of you guys know where my hairline is. This dude took my hairline back here. I lie not to you. It was back. I was looking like Stephen A. Smith. He handed me the mirrors like, what you think, homie? I'm like, nigga, I look like Stephen A. Smith. Did I come in here looking like Stephen A. Smith? Why the hell am I walking out of here looking like Stephen A. Smith? So I said, man, just bald it. Just take it all off, man, and fix up my beard a little bit. And then like at the end, I was like, here, man, I went ahead and tipped the man anyway. Cause I just, that's what I do. I tip everybody. I mean, good service, bad service. You ain't gonna ever say you didn't get tipped by Benjamin Dixon. All right. So I tipped him. He reached out to dap me up. I'm like, nah, man, just take the tip. Be blessed. I'll, catch you next lifetime. So here I am. Now I'm completely bald because this dude, this dude thought, he was like, yeah, man, well, I wanted to bring it back a little bit so it could be extra crispy. I don't need it to be extra crispy. I need you to leave my tape exactly where it is. And as a result, I had planned on doing this eventually. Like I had planned on doing this, like, maybe I was going to lose a little weight and then come out maybe like next June or something. But I didn't want to do it like you don't go, who goes into the winter with a bald head? So anyway, wanted to tell you guys about that. That's, that's how my day is going. And I do, like I said, guys, I ain't got no filter tonight. So, I know we're family, and just make sure that if you ever repeat some of the words that I say on here, make sure that you're black. Just cause I say it around you don't mean you can say, caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, Ben, it's Ryan. How you doing?
Doing
Besides
good.
your haircut.
Hey, thanks. What's on your mind, man?
I hate it for you, man. I hate it for you. That's all I can say. Anyway, good show. Yeah, I agree with Bryce. Papa John's pizza tastes like crap. Haven't eaten it for years, so I'm going to continue my boycott that has been going on. And, of course, I married a lady who hates Papa John's as much as I do, so we don't have to deal with that
That's
in the
what's
family.
up. Yep. And I got to confess, like, I don't hate Papa John's, but I do now. I actually had ordered some the day before he said this. And I'm looking at my wife. I'm like, if I had known this dude was going to say this crap, I would have made a pizza at home. But anyway, that's my confession. Go ahead. What's on your mind,
Throw
Ryan?
it away.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
Good. What I was going to say is, DM'd you on Twitter, and I'm going to challenge you right now. And,
Okay.
The Russian thing.
Okay.
We all have a horse in this race because me, you, and the other people engaged, especially those that progressives like yourself and people who love and care about our country, we want to keep it pure. We want to keep the politics and the discussion pure, and we want to make sure that we are not being influenced and have things put out there by a foreign power trying to direct us one way or another, left, right, up, down, front, back. We want to make our decisions for ourselves, and we do not need to be influenced by this. So either this Russian thing is something or it is not. And we all have a horse in this race to make sure that when our horses get to the end, it was nothing. And if it was something, we find those MFers and we get them out. So I just want to say that.
All right. Well, I did ask for people to challenge me. Call me. Hey, thanks for the call, man. I did say last night, I love it when people challenge me. And if I hear you correctly, and I just read your DM while you were talking, you're basically saying that to be agnostic about the Russian situation is not a reasonable position when you consider the implications of if Russia actually did this, then we shouldn't be journalistically agnostic. I can see why you would say that. I don't totally agree in the sense of, from a journalist perspective, whether I should be, because here's a challenge for me, right? As a new media commentator, and sometimes I do journalism. Like, I've broken 2 stories in the last 3 years. That's about my quota. So I know how to do journalism. I prefer to do commentary, but in my role as a occasional journalist, I relish the opportunity to be unbiased. Like when I actually go to do journalism, those 2 times that I did it in the last 2 years, most of the time I'm just a commentator, being honest. But because most of my day is spent being a commentator, I actually enjoy the opportunity to be completely agnostic about something. And in this case, the only reason I disagree with you, I get your sentiment, caller, Ryan. I definitely get your sentiment. But the reason I would push back on you is this. It's that for me, my job is not to try to make it one or the other. It's not my job to try to make it collusion or to make it not collusion. My job is to hear the facts from Congress and the investigative committee, Bob Mueller and all the different committees that are investigating it, hear the facts and report it as it's given. So to not try to convince my audience that it was collusion, to not try to convince my audience that it wasn't collusion, I'm trying to convince my audience only on this issue, because on everything else, I'm completely biased. Only on this issue, I'm trying to convince you that it's important for us to not worry about what it was until we find out what it was. And when we find out what it was, then yeah, let's act accordingly, right? You know, if there's a way to get them out, but that runs short of actual conflict, because I don't think it runs to the level of having a war with them, hot or cold, right? But anything short of that, then I say, let's do it and make sure that it doesn't happen again. But until we find that out, I think it's fair for me to be journalistically agnostic, or to just have some basic journalistic integrity and not try to convince you one way or the other on Russia. And if you look back at my reporting, regurgitating of the facts to you, it's been, we don't know. So let's wait until we find out. And that's the road I try to walk on this. Now, on everything else, I'm trying to convince you and persuade you that this tax plan that Republicans are trying to shove down our throat is 100% pure D garbage. And we need to stop them at every stop. I'm not only just a commentator, I'm like an activist. Pick up your phone, call your senator, call your congressperson, and let them know that we will campaign against them if they support this bill. So it's like I try to find a balance and know who I am when I am on Russia. I can't control the outcome of that. So all I can do is report the outcome to you, so I can have complete journalistic integrity and dissect things and see through the bullshit when I need to see through the bullshit and report it to you as I see it with my discerning eye. On tax policy, I am not trying to be fair and balanced. I'm trying to be completely biased and let you know that it's 100% trash and we need to stop it. And it's more important for us to talk about that tax policy than the primaries. Next caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hi, my name's Travis. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good, Travis. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, so I have 2 questions for you, and I'll be really brief. First one is, I'm curious to hear your take on why Donna Brazile decided to come out with this now. I know she has a book coming out, but she's been pretty unrepentant about the whole CNN scandal up until this point, right? So, it seems weird that she's now trying to get in the good graces of the Bernie wing of the party. Mm-hmm. And my second question is, I'm in Virginia. We have a gubernatorial race coming up.
That's a hell of a race.
I was planning on voting. Yeah, and I was planning on voting a straight Democratic ticket because the other, the other side of that is just pretty horrible.
Yeah.
What would you, in the wake of all of this? I mean, would you still say go ahead and do that? I mean, what would your advice be on that? I mean, I was already disillusioned with the party to begin with, and this is just, putting a nail in the coffin a little bit in some ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your name again?
Travis.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Travis. I'm going to answer that off air so I can clear up the lines. So I'm going to start with the one that's important. The race in Virginia. Ed Gillespie versus Frank. His last name skips my mind right now. But that race is important because you have Ed Gillespie, who is 100% pandering to the Klan. He's pandering to white supremacy. He's pandering to the KKK, right? He's pandering to the Confederacy is what I'm looking for. One second, just ordering my new drink. Okay, sorry. And so it's very, and I'm sorry for interrupting it because it's really important. I swear the race in Virginia is super important. And this is the sad news, guys. This is the sad news that I was aware of this, but the extent to which it is true was magnified by the results that the Green Party got. In a full-on revolution, Democratic exit, resistance against the DNC. I mean, we were at the DNC carrying, I wasn't, but I was capturing it on film. They were carrying a coffin with DNC written on it. You had thousands of people revolting against the DNC, actively on the floor, resisting, shouting down. I mean, they had to bring in white noise to cancel out the noise in entire sections because of a full-on rebellion against the DNC. In that environment, the Green Party got less than 1% of the national vote. The Green Party, in the presence of a national revolution against the DNC, was still only able to capture 1% of the vote. Why do I bring that up in light of the race in Virginia? It's because of what the caller, what Travis said at the end. He said that that this was kind of the nail in the coffin for the DNC. Well, I will explain why that shouldn't be the case, but here's why. Here's the important thing. If you want to have a progressive future of any type right now, and you could call me in and challenge me on this, please do. We could debate about this all day long. Right now, I do not see any national party. Maybe you could do it on your local level, and if you can, absolutely do it. But I don't see anybody poised to push back against the onslaught from the Republican Party. Nobody besides the DNC. And if you feel, I'm going to pull your card here. If you feel that it's okay for the Republican Party in the current state that it is in to continue doing what they want to do and gaining ground on every issue that's important to us, then you're not really progressive. You're not really progressive as much as you're just anti-DNC. Because I can't sit by and just nod my head and say, see, I told you so, DNC. I told you, DNC. I told you y'all were going to lose. And just kind of have this big circle jerk of I told you so with other progressives. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is getting ready to cut taxes in a way that's going to eviscerate every program that we ever wanted. If you ever wanted Medicare for all, forget about it because he's gutting Medicare. He's cutting $1 trillion. He's going to add $1 trillion to the deficit, and then they're going to use that as an excuse to cut even more from Medicare. So forget about Medicare for all. Forget about anything that you ever wanted to do as a progressive. Forget about it for generations, because now you're going to get judges that are on Ruth Bader Ginsburg is only going to be able to last so long. Man, she's not immortal. I wish she was, but she's not. And so Donald Trump is going to get another appointment to the Supreme Court. And so we cannot afford to just sit by. Thanks, babe. We cannot afford to sit by and stay in revolution mode against the DNC when we do not have a viable option, a viable replacement. And this is what ticks me off about the Green Party so much. What ticks me off about the Green Party so much is that we actually do need another option, but 1%, less than 1% of the national vote in the presence of a full-on rebellion. So I went the long way around to say this. The race in Virginia is vitally important. Vote against Ed Gillespie. Vote against him because he is literally out there pandering to the Klan, talking about the big difference between he and his opponent, whose name just escapes me right now. And I'm going to look it up while we talk. The difference is that he's going to keep up the monuments, the Confederate monuments, and protect their heritage, as if that's the most important thing, right? Number one, as if that's the most important thing, but number two, as if that's the right side of history to be on. And that's just the entry level stuff, right? He's going to bring the same style tax structure to Virginia. He's going to bring the same style healthcare structure that Donald Trump wants to Virginia. We cannot neglect the fact that these state races are just as important as a national race. And while this article, and I can answer your first question with this, this article to some seems to be confirmation that the DNC was corrupt and all these things, I see it in the exact opposite. I see a feckless leader who weakened. I think she may have intentionally weakened the DNC such that it was vulnerable to Hillary Clinton's every demand. That's what I see. I see that this would never have happened if Debbie Wasserman Schultz had not been in that position. She was appointed by Barack Obama. Obama should have got rid of her in 2012, between 2010 and 2012, when she threatened to accuse him of anti-Semitism and sexism because he considered getting rid of her. And so she was going to pull the anti-Semitism card and the sexism card, but he didn't get rid of her, and that's his fault. And now she's left in charge, and she corroded away the infrastructure of the party. She ran up the bill of the party such that it was bankrupt, and it was nobody's fault but hers and Hillary Clinton's. And to be truthful, Barack Obama has some blame on that because he had consultants on the payroll too. And so the fact that Donna Brazile is exposing this from an insider perspective means a lot. And which is why I say she's bae for at least the next 48 hours, is because she's going to take it on the chin because she was willing to expose this. I honestly do not care what her motivations are, right? The only motivation I'm interested in is that she's extending this as an olive branch to people who felt that this was happening the entire time. I'm not going to buy her book. I mean, most Bernie Sanders supporters, even no matter what she does, they're not going to go out and buy her book. So I don't think that she's doing this for book sales. Unless y'all are just going to go out there and buy a book. I'm not going to buy her book. Somebody tell me about it, right? Send me the review, and then I'll talk about the review like I actually read the book. I'm not buying the book. I mean, maybe her publisher will send it to me. Hatchet Book Group. Okay, fine. Maybe they'll send it to me. I'll read it. But I don't think she did it for book sales, right? Because she got her royalty from the books. Right. And if you're saying she's doing it to try to get in the good graces of Bernie Sanders supporters, that's exactly why she should do it. That's exactly the reason to do it, because some of us can't take yes for an answer. Right. When people say, OK, you know what, guys, I got in there and I found out it was corrupt. So I hate to do this, but I got to write this article. It was corrupt as shit. And then people are sitting back like, oh, you're only doing that because but she did it. I mean, what do you want her to do? I think sometimes Bernie Sanders supporters and progressives in general, you want people to have like a literal come to Jesus moment where they're like, oh, glory. I've seen the light. Oh, I've seen the progressive light and it's shining so bright. Forgive me. Do you want her to have a Jimmy Swagger moment? Like, oh, I've sinned against God and I've sinned against you. I mean, what do y'all want her to do? She's literally put herself on the outs with Hillary Clinton. She's definitely put herself on the outs with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And she's definitely put herself on the outs with Barack Obama, also that she could confirm what you already believe. I mean, I think that's enough. Personally. I'm just saying. So whatever her intentions are, the end result is that we're getting information from the inside, from somebody who actually looked at the damn books to confirm what we saw in the WikiLeaks or the Guccifer leaks. Same difference. Oh no, can't spill that. Oh no. And we're seeing it from the inside. And I don't think that we can ask for anything more. I don't think we should ask for anything. I think it's irresponsible. I think we would be as childish as the Hillary Clinton supporters who are like, no, boo boo. You know, it's extremely childish to still have that a chip on our shoulder because we don't think her motivations behind this were pure. That's such a, I don't operate there. Right. I could probably think of 100 ways to insult people who operate there, but I'm just going to tell you, I don't operate there. It's enough. It's quite enough for her to take it on the chin and put this out there. I'm good. You know, as far as her cheating on, she's probably uber embarrassed that she got caught. I mean, I think some of us, and this is moving away from politics for a second, just give me 30 seconds to move away from politics and talk about life. I think some of us expect more out of people than we would expect out of ourselves. If we were embarrassed on a national level, lost our job with CNN, lost a huge paycheck, and all because we went to help somebody that we wanted to become president. I mean, what's wrong with you wanting Hillary Clinton to become president? Oh, because she's a supervillain. Kiss my ass. Come on, man. She's no more of a super. I mean, come on. Seriously, she was a candidate that you didn't like, that you didn't agree with. You didn't like her politics, but she was not the devil. And I think a lot of people have crafted Hillary Clinton like the literal campaign ads being run by Russians where she's dressed up like the devil. And I think people have really bought into this idea that Hillary Clinton was Satan. If you're watching me and you believe Hillary Clinton was Satan, you shouldn't be watching me. Like, not because you think that, but because you think irrationally. So I think a lot of people have built this animosity up towards the DNC, such in Hillary Clinton and Donna Brazile, such that we are expecting them to behave in ways that we would not behave. How many of us would readily come out and knowing that we did something wrong, but just readily confess it to all of America and not try to save face? I mean, it's a natural inclination for you to want to save face. So the fact that she tried to save as much face as she could with the CNN question thing, that doesn't surprise me, because I do the same thing. Come on. I mean, and if you don't think that you would do the same thing, then, you know, you sound like some preachers I know who say that they don't have sex outside of their marriage. Let's just be real for a few minutes. So all that to say, I don't know her motivations. All I know is that I'm glad that she did it. I'm glad that she did it, because to me, this represents an opportunity. This is like her extending an olive branch. This is an opportunity for conciliation, for us to reconcile, for us to move forward, because until the Green Party gets their shit together, or maybe the Democratic Socialist comes around the corner with some real viable options, but without a viable option, we don't have time. We do not have time to play there's no such thing as a lesser evil. If you still think that there's no such thing as a lesser evil after all that Donald Trump has, attempted to do, and only he couldn't do it because he's so feckless. But if he was competent, like Mike Pence probably would be competent, then we would have had, I mean, think about everything. We would have 25 million people without health care. We would have had transgender people not being able to serve in the military. We would have look at everything that Jeff Sessions is trying to do in the Department of Justice. I mean, literally look at everything that he's trying to do. We're going to have the deepest tax cuts since Ronald Reagan, basically just relinquishing all responsibility of the top 1% and the corporations to have any responsibility to the maintenance of the society from which they derive all of their wealth. I mean, if you don't believe in the lesser evil at this point, after everything Donald Trump has tried to do, you're fooling yourself. And I think you're fooling yourself for political reasons. I think you're trying to be opportunistic and build your following. I think you're being opportunistic and trying to build your party, and you're building it on this notion that's costing the lives. And I mean, it will literally cost the lives of people who no longer have access to health care. When there is a viable option. Now, and listen here. Okay, Ben, well, why don't you help there become? Because I mean, I'm not that powerful, but here you go. This is how you can help. Go to your local meetings. Go to your local Green Party meetings. Go to your local Democratic Socialist meetings. If you're serious about getting that third, fourth party started, then by all means, get out there and go. But don't knock on the people who are saying we've got to be ready to at least, at a minimum, even if Democrats don't win the White House in 2020, we sure as hell got to help them win back at least one house of Congress. Senate or the House. I don't care which. Take your pick. It's got to be one or the other, because we cannot allow another 7 years of Donald Trump having a completely unified government at his disposal. And if you're comfortable with that, and you're comfortable with that because you don't want to ever do anything to help the Democrats out, then you are useless to society as a whole. Go into your corner, go into your, conspiracy theorist left and dumb left circle jerk corner. You guys go over there and just, make yourselves feel good because you're pure. I think I need to do a couple more horror episodes, because, it's got to be, the next one is going to be somebody who's trying to get a stain off their arm. Like, it's just never clean enough. It's not clean enough. It's not clean enough. God damn it. It's not clean. I can't get it to go away. And that's the purist, right? Somebody who scrapes their skin down to the bone because it was never clean enough for them, was never pure enough. Meanwhile, they're destroying themselves and they're destroying the people around them. That's my next political horror story. All right, this caller has been on hold. I would be a complete jerk to not take them, even though we're over time. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name, comment, and/or question?
Hey, Ben. It's Nick from Oregon.
Nick, what's on your mind, Nick?
Hey, not much. It's Progressive Christmas. And I tie that in with a lot of the things that you said tonight. One, that regardless of the reasoning that she did this, it's out there. And that's, if only for, like you said, the reconciliation of, if not credibility, then just the I told you so, like, this is how it was, and move on to do any progress whatsoever. We have to be able to address the issues and move on from them. I think part of what you said, especially that I wanted to touch on, just kind of as a sign-off thing, was that it is really important. I'm personally a member of DSA. I believe a lot in what I do at my local. There's some argument as to what National is doing that I disagree with, but I think that it is important that you said you need to get involved.
Right.
Even if it's, I don't think. I mean, this is just from my perspective. I have a lot of distaste for the DNC, for the local party, because I don't think that it does anything. And that's partly why I joined DSA, because I wanted to do something. If I wanted to just, jerk off motion and then, sign a ballot, then I would just be with the Democrats and that would be it. It wouldn't be an issue. But I think that it's important for people to look back at what the quote unquote Bernie movement did.
Right.
It took someone who had a strong, I guess strong message, but strong background, a strong history of policy that was just straight policy the whole time. They want this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And taking that person and using the movement to boost him up to such a high position, regardless of, of Bernie himself, the people that brought him there. And that's on a depressed level where we hadn't been encouraged in the past to come out in such a drove.
That's it right there.
I think if we take that same energy and then apply it to these next 2018, like 2020, I like everyone else is saying, if Bernie runs, whatever, that's our true compromise at this point for Republicans, for lefties, for centrists. That is the compromise at this point, because we need policy like we've never had it before. And we need to all be in that conversation to be able to push it to the, to the Congress, to the House, to the White House, and be able to have the energy in there in order to make it work, instead of just saying it doesn't work. And if DSA gets a position as a party, like an actual political party, great. But I'm not counting on it for right now, and it doesn't matter. We just need to be out there, and I think that's really what needs to be nailed down in this conversation. Absolutely.
And thank you for bringing that into focus, man, Nick. I always appreciate your calls. Thank you for bringing that into focus, because listen, I actually 100%. Donna Brazile. Okay, Donna Brazile has been reduced from bay for the next 48 hours to bay for the next 10 minutes. But anyway, I'll read this in a second. God damn, Donna, I'm up here trying to help you out, and then you go and tweet some junk out like this. Okay, anyway, okay. I'll tell you. She's in Boston right now. I should have stayed in Boston so I could run up on her, be like, what's up, shawty? What's up? But anyway, I'm going to read exactly what I'm talking about in 2 seconds. It just came across my Twitter feed. I would talk about it in a second. But to what Nick was saying, I like DSA. I like having the potential of another party. I like having their organizing energy. I would like for them to do some other things, but I'm not going to hit them so hard about doing other things, because I'm not in there trying to help them. Right. I'm just on the outside looking in. I'm like, I wish they would do X, Y, and Z, but I'm not going to give them hell about X, Y, and Z. I might drop Larry website a couple of messages here and there, every time. But unless I'm going to get in there and help them, I'm not going to sit here and criticize them from my perch, because that would be hypocritical. Right. And so I say that to say, get involved wherever you feel that you should get involved in, man. Really? Like, if you honestly still believe that the DNC is not worth your time, then go and get with the DSA, get with the Green Party. But I will always advocate for you to participate in a national party when 2018 comes around, because at a minimum, you may hate the Democratic Party, but at a minimum, you have to agree that even if you don't help them win the White House in 2020, fine. At a minimum, we have to divide that Congress, because if they have a unified Congress for the next 6 years, eventually they're going to get their act together, and they're going to start passing legislation that is going to destroy us. And I'm fearful of even allowing Donald Trump in there for 4 more years, because then he's going to be able to tip the balance of power on the Supreme Court. And they are waiting for an opportunity to overturn Roe versus Wade. They are waiting for that opportunity. Dominionists and Christian Zionists and evangelicals, they are just waiting for the opportunity to get rid of a woman's rights to choose, to overturn Obergefell versus Hodges, right? To revoke marriage equality. They are waiting on this opportunity, and all they need is for Ruth Bader Ginsburg to resign, or to, God forbid, but it's coming. I mean, it's coming eventually, for her to pass away. I think Kennedy is talking about resigning. So, there's a lot of things that are important on the table, and anybody who's still talking about there's no such thing as a lesser of two evils, they're a liar. They are a complete liar, and they are doing it. They are doing it because it builds them. They are doing it because it builds their platform. They're doing it because it builds their party at the expense of the opportunity to stop somebody like Donald Trump, who is clearly the greater evil. All right. So this is what I was talking about with Donna Brazile. I didn't see this until and she tweeted it like 12 hours ago, but I'm just seeing it now. She said, my book contains 20 chapters. How's she talk? My book contains 20 chapters. You can get a flavor of some of the excerpts of chapter 10. I can't even do her voice. Can't wait for you to get a real sauce of chapters 1 through 9, 11 through 20. Psh, boo. I don't have a boo sound. I don't care. Listen, she trying to make that money because she lost that job from CNN. But if you find a lie in that chapter, if you find a lie in what she wrote in Politico, then I would say, we should reject what she had to say. I have absolutely no reason to reject what she had to say because what she had to say was critical. And there's Tim Black underneath it. Talking about, she's gonna go everywhere to promote her book. I don't even want her to come on my show to promote no book. What I'm gonna get Donna Brazile on. Let's see if she's still interested. Let's see how real Donna Brazile is. Donna, this one goes out to you, babe. Because I want you to come on my religion podcast so you could talk about being black and Christian in a white evangelical America and tell us about your process of lighting candles and playing gospel music to get your center. That's what I want you to come on my show to talk about. I don't come on my show to talk about your book, but you could talk about your book too, because that's what I got to do to get you on your show. I'm not beneath it or above it. Later, folks.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. It's Ben Dixon! If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.